Hello, everybody, live with the purple microphone. Do you guys like my purple microphone? Good evening, everyone. Hello, lovelies. Welcome to the Joy Reid Show. I can see the chats are already active. I got a hello, cousins, readers, and lemonheads over in the YouTube channel. Welcome to everybody, whether you're on the YouTube side, whether you are on Facebook, whether you're on Substack, hello, Substackers. Hello to our lovely Twitchies in the building. If you're on LinkedIn, hello, LinkedInies or LinkedIners. We haven't decided yet. And also, if you're listening on an audio platform, we appreciate you all being here. Please do click the little notification bell to make sure that you're not the only ones who get here early. If you hit the notification little bell thing and then hit all, you will train the algorithm to make sure that it tells you whenever we're live, so you never miss a live opportunity. And we're going to be doing a very special live, by the way, tomorrow night. So you want to hit that notification bell right now to make sure you don't miss the start of it. We're going to come on at 8:30 and we're going to cover the madness that will be Donald Trump's wacko speech he's going to be giving, not about the upcoming election kind of, but really about the last election, the 2020 election, the one he lost, the one before last. He's giving a speech about it, which is very curious. So hit that notification bell now so that you won't miss it, because we're going to be doing some coverage. Wajahat Ali has already confirmed he's going to be there. We're going to have some really great folks on for that. So you're going to want to do that
so the plan,
as well.
So Joy, the plan is we're going to what? Have a little mean conference beforehand, watch his brain-numbing speech, and then we're going to have a discussion, tear his ass apart, right?
Correct. We're going to start off by, hello, Jason.
Hello, Joy.
You got your lights on tonight.
Hey, fam. How you doing?
Yes, we are going to come on at 8:30 to pregame the madness. Then we're going to watch the madness, but don't worry, we'll be there with you. So if it gets too crazy,
keep it as low as possible. But
keep the sound low.
No, I gotta play, so we gotta hear the madness.
Yeah, we'll be next to you though. Don't worry, we'll be right there with you, watching the foolishness. We're gonna watch the foolishness with you, and then afterwards, we'll just rip it apart. That's what we're gonna do. That's gonna be tomorrow night.
A lot of fun. Should be a lot of fun.
Bring the wine. Somebody said bring the wine. You might want to bring security. You may want to drink because it's gonna be crazy. So you're going to want to do that. So definitely hit like and subscribe and hit share to make sure that everybody knows that we're doing that tomorrow. So don't be alone doing it. Send it to like 10 friends who you want to watch it with you and have a little watch party. All right. So we also want to make sure that we find out from everybody where you're watching from. We really want to know where our wonderful readers are watching from, whether you are on Twitch or whether you're on Substack or whether you're on Facebook or whether you are on YouTube. Let us know where you're watching from. We want to hear where you're watching from. And also tonight, they said drinking game. Would love to know what you think will be the craziest thing Trump will say tomorrow night. So tell us where you're watching from, but also answer our question of the night. What, in your view, will be the cuckoo craziest thing that Donald Trump is going to say in his speech tomorrow night? Throw it out there. What do you, somebody said, from fascist Florida. YouTube is not a place, but you can say it is. South Carolina. We got Fort Lauderdale, Florida in Twitch. Somebody said Twitch. Twitch is not a place. It is a place. It is a destination. Let me jump on the Substack here and see what those folks are saying in Substack. So yeah, we want to know where you guys are watching from, and also what you think will be the most madcap assertion from Trumpersville, from the Trump pie hole tomorrow night. We got Virginia on Substack. Sean T said, ain't no telling. I don't know if that means ain't no telling where I'm watching from, or ain't no telling what crazy crap that dude is going to say tomorrow night. One person, Timothy E77, already says Trump is going to say the economy is doing well. We got Durham, North Carolina, also in YouTube. We got Vallejo, California. Miss Mamakari, hello, Miss Mamakari. We got Fresno on YouTube. We got Kakalaka, North Carolina in Substack. What's that, Jason?
No, I guarantee what he's going to say tomorrow is that Raphael Warnock and Mr. Ossoff stole the election from me.
Right.
I am those senators should go. And everything was rigged against me, and I'm a victim, and I'm upset about it, and it's
and put the kooky football player in instead. He should have beaten the pastor. We got Chicago watching on Twitch. We got little emojis. Frogging Molly on Twitch is giving us cute little me emojis. They're me-mojis. I love it. So let's very quickly, before we get into the show in chief, let's let you know that our show tonight is brought to you by Good Night Sleep. Okay, we're brought to you by Blissy, which is my key to a good night's sleep. Between the pillowcases, super soft, and that little eye cover thing, baby, it's how I get to sleep. Because I need total dark. I need darkness in order to go to sleep. But also, it's helpful to wake up without fine lines and wrinkles and sleep creases all over yourself after you put on the sleep mask. So what we love about Blissy, it's made from beautiful 100% 22 month 6A grade 100% pure mulberry silk, meaning that it reduces the frizz in your hair, the breakage on your face. It preserves the style and color. You lay down a beautiful silk pillowcase, you wake up and your hair still looks great. It is a beautiful thing. Even if you have no hair like me, you still want to make sure you sleep on silk. More than 3 million have been sold. They've been featured in Vogue, Oprah Daily, Good Morning America, you name it. They've won like 13 bazillion awards. They're a great gift for your mom, sister, friend, even a dad who wants to, have a sleep mask and sleep well. So you want to get involved? You want to take advantage? Well, since you're a listener of the Joy Reid Show, Blissy is offering 60 nights risk-free to try their products, plus an additional 30% off when you shop at blissy.com/joypod. That's BLISSY.com/joypod. Use the code JOYPOD, like podcast, to get an additional 30% off. Your skin and hair will say thank you. You want to wake up with clearer skin, smoother hair, cooler sleep. Use the code JOYPOD for an extra 30% off at blissy.com. All right. So as you may know, there's a press conference this morning with updates in the Nolan Wells case. We watched on the Don Lemon channel. Big up to the Lemonheads. We watched it with the Lemonheads this morning. So we're going to get to that later in the show with a great guest. Plus, there's lots of reaction to Jay-Z's concert. I don't know if any of you were in New York. I didn't get a lot of New York. We got New Mexico and Twitch. We got lots of different places. Didn't say New York. And yes, shouting out the Lemon readers on Twitch as well. But if you're in New York, let us know if you went to that concert. There's a lot of blowback, I guess you could say, to some of the things that Jay-Z said, and also big blowback to the Odyssey casting. We're going to talk with our good friend Chris Witherspoon about that. Plus, we've got a really great giveaway for ViewerCon, which is going to be really fun this weekend. So we've got a ticket giveaway coming up in hour 2 of the show. So you want to stick around for that. All right, now let's get to the news of today. Today, I sat through, so you don't have to, the Todd Blanche confirmation hearings. Now, they were interesting. Todd Blanche was feisty. He wasn't Pamela Joe feisty. Like, he didn't have a burn book. He did mild insults, but he didn't go heavy on the insults of the Democrats. He didn't do like the Pam Bondi flip my wig off and start freaking out and screaming, which is what she did. He was a little less screamy, but also, not very practiced at not seeming corrupt. Here was one of the answers that a lot of people found surprising. A lot of people are sharing. This is when Senator Kennedy, not the good Kennedys, I would guess the antebellum Kennedys from the South, when Senator Kennedy asked him, "Are you and Donald Trump friends?"
Are you and President Trump friends?
I'm his lawyer, was his lawyer, and now I'm the Deputy Attorney General. So I met him as his criminal defense attorney. I'm not sure there's very many people who have ever had a criminal defense attorney who calls that person their friend. I now have a...
Well, let me put it this way. Are you enemies?
No, we're not enemies at all. No.
Have you ever seen a president of the United States appoint an enemy to be Attorney General?
I have not.
Usually they appoint their qualified friends, don't they?
Yes.
Jason, can you play the top of that again? Just the top of that same one again.
Are you and President Trump friends?
I'm his lawyer.
That's enough. Okay. Yep. Got it, Todd. Yep, you're his lawyer. And at a strange tales that we weave when first we practice to deceive, or whatever the saying is. That was called a Freudian slip. Paging Dr. Freud. So that was not great. But let's try this one. Here is a question from Senator Amy Klobuchar. Does ICE need a warrant to enter someone's home?
And as the nation's chief law enforcement official, do you agree that it is unacceptable for federal agents to forcibly enter someone's home without a warrant and drag them onto the street without even checking that they have the right person?
Well, it depends on the circumstances, as you know. I mean, yes, obviously, law enforcement agents need a warrant to enter a house, except for limited exceptions to that. So yes, we very much believe in the constitutional protections afforded American citizens. The same protections are not afforded people who are here illegally. So it's not a black and white answer where I can say yes or no.
Wrong. Wrong answer, lawyer. You're the guy who's like a lawyer. You're supposed to know the Constitution. No, it does apply. You cannot enter someone's home with a warrant. Like that was like a layup. That should have been. You cannot enter someone's home without a warrant and just bust in someone's home. That is one of the reasons that we separated from King George, because King George was allowed to enter your home and send his redcoats into your home without a warrant. Like it's in the Constitution. All right, let's do another. Is the federal government, Todd Blanche, Donald Trump's lawyer, per your own admission, are they preparing to use federal law enforcement to impede the November elections? Go.
Since last year, DOJ has sued 30 states seeking their voter lists. 14 of those lawsuits have been resolved by federal judges. Mr. Blanche, did any of those 14 federal court judges from across the country agree with DOJ's legal position? Again, yes or no?
With some of the legal positions, yes.
Pardon?
The answer to the question is yes. Some of the judges
So
agreed
14
with some,
judges?
agreed with some of our legal positions, and most of those cases are under appeal.
Actually, that's not correct. The answer is actually no. These 14 federal judges, some of them were Trump appointees, disagreed with DOJ's position in terms of getting access to these voter rolls.
Well, I think
it's all part of DOJ's attempt and with the president's attempt at election interference.
Thank you, Senator Mazie Hirono, for clearing that up. Do we need to get the potential new attorney general a couple of law school refresher courses? Because he doesn't seem to know the law. Okay, let's give him another chance. What about that sweet immunity deal that Todd Blanche signed off on for his client? I'm sorry, his former client, and his family, Donald Trump, to never ever have to face the tax laws.
I want to ask you about the immunity provisions that you signed relative to the responsibility and liability of the president and his family and their businesses when it comes to tax audits. Would you like to explain how we can give to the president and his family and businesses exemptions from complying with the tax laws of the United States?
It's not an exemption to comply with the tax laws of the United States. As part of the settlement, it was an agreement that any past audits would end.
The United States, your signature, the United States releases, waives, acquits, and forever discharges each of the plaintiffs when it comes to tax liability. That's how it reads. It's pretty sweeping. You don't believe that is a discharge forever from liability?
Of any past filings, yes.
All right, it is. How do you explain that to the American people, everyone in this room, all of us on this side? We have to follow the tax laws of the United States. And if we don't, we can be held responsible for it, to the point of even criminal prosecution. Why did you decide that President Trump and his family and their businesses should be exempt from that same responsibility?
As part of the settlement between the IRS and President Trump and some of his family, 2 of his sons and his organization, as is typical when there's a settlement between plaintiffs and the IRS, part of the settlement included release of any past audits. It does not give any protection to the president, his family, or his organizations for any taxes they file. If they filed it the day of that I signed that agreement, or the day after, they have no protection.
No matter what their liability, no matter what their violation of tax law, you signed a document that forever discharged them from any legal responsibility.
As part of the settlement that we entered into, any past audits were
How often do you think that's been done in the history of the United States?
Involving the President of the United States, I'm not sure it's ever been done, but this type of settlement is done regularly.
So you're saying that when it comes to the President of the United States, his family and businesses have no responsibility under the tax laws for any wrongdoing prior to the signing of this document?
No, I mean, I didn't say that at all. What I'm saying is that I think President Trump and his family are the first president that had their tax returns illegally taken, and made available to the public. So that is unique to President Trump, yes. But this type of settlement is not unique to the Department of Justice or the IRS.
It's hard to explain to the American people that no one is above the law when that type of document was signed by you.
Dude, it's not regularly done. And you need to know, as you listen to that gobbledygook mush mouth answer, that Donald Trump's taxes were not the only person's taxes that were revealed by that IRS employee who went to prison for it. They leaked more taxes than just Trump's. Only the Trump family is being given a settlement that makes them immune from the tax laws, not just Trump, but also his kids and his businesses, none of whom were parties to the lawsuit. This is why the judge said this was just a scheme to get 1.8 billion. And it wasn't 1.8 billion. I think you need to remember it was 1.776 billion. It was 1776. The media never reports it that way. They always round it up to 1.8. It was $1.776 billion exactly, which was designed to be a slush fund for Donald Trump to use to pay off the January 6th insurrectionists. Tomorrow night, when he does his speech, you're going to find out why. Because they're attempting to build a case that the insurrectionists did nothing wrong, and in fact, they were wronged by the government, that what they were doing was patriotically trying to right a wrong, the wrong being the alleged stealing of the election from Trump. He's going to try to invalidate every election that happened in 2020 because he needs to be able to claim that election was fraudulent so he can steal the next one. Just put a pin in it. The 1776 was designed to be a slush fund payoff, which is why we did Run Me My Slush Money, because we're like, you can't pay those people off. Those people were beating up police officers. And what Durbin was able to bring out, that's Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois, he was able to bring out that just because, as he kept repeating, that they've canceled the slush fund, it is no longer operative, Durbin got him to admit that that doesn't mean they couldn't bring it back. Once he's attorney general, he could just say, you know what, I'm reinstating the settlement, the 1776 billion, the 1.776 billion back in effect, and we're going to start sending out checks, your money, to January 6th insurrectionists, some of whom are child sex predators, pre and post insurrection. Putting a pin in that. Well done, Dick Durbin. Okay, so Blanche, he did face, even though Durbin was great, he faced the toughest interactions with one Senator Sheldon Whitehouse of Rhode Island.
Word cloud of the commentary by federal judges about the conduct of your DOJ. These are red flag words that when I was a U.S. attorney would have provoked at minimum an internal conversation about what the hell went wrong, and very likely a conversation with OPR and maybe OPR pursuit. Words like pretext mean a lot coming from a judge about a government argument, usually enjoying the presumption of regularity. We need answers. I need you to be able to tell me that this kind of misconduct is going to stop if you're confirmed as Attorney General. Can you say that?
The Department of Justice works hard. The prosecutors work hard every day, and I appreciate the hand-picked words that you have behind you right now, but that's not reflective of the 100,000 indictments and informations that have been filed to do the work that I talked about earlier today. And so while cherry picking a few isolated words from district court or magistrate judges in certain districts is something that you're entitled to do, it's absolutely false to suggest that this Department of Justice is not executing as we should in doing the right thing every single day.
I will tell you that you are wrong, that in the history of the department, this kind of criticism by federal judges is unprecedented, and it comes from judges of every different political persuasion.
In addition to getting a constitutional refresher course for Todd Blanche, particularly zeroing in on the Fourth Amendment, which says you cannot enter a home without a warrant, we may also want to get him the Merriam-Webster definition of a word cloud. A word cloud means the most frequently used words, not just a bunch of random selected words. Which words were used the most and in how many and at how much intensity? So the big words there, like sham, that means that the judges use those words the most, Todd. All right, let's get one more before we bring in our guest. Senator John Cornyn, who is one of the senators who I would argue voters should really zero in on because he's pissed at Trump right now. Trump chose the other guy, Paxton, the incredibly criminal attorney general of the state of Texas, which makes no sense, instead of him. So he's leaving. You don't have to vote for that guy. he actually had some pretty tough questioning too. Here's John Cornyn.
I believe you have said that the weaponization fund is a moot issue. Is that your position?
Yes, it is a moot issue, meaning there is no weaponization fund. The weaponization fund is dead. It's not moving forward.
Well, I would refer you to the settlement agreement. Do you happen to have a copy of that in front of you?
I do not.
Okay,
Senator.
well, you probably know what's in it.
I'm familiar with it, yes.
I'm sure you are. On page 4, this settlement agreement may be modified only upon the written agreement of the parties. Has there been a written agreement of the parties to modify the settlement fund?
No, the settlement fund's just not moving forward. There's no modification. It's just, it never started. No money went from the Treasury to any other account. There's no commissioners. It's not moving forward.
Well, so the settlement agreement remains as it was originally, but I hear what you're saying. Is the settlement agreement enforceable as a contract by the parties?
Well, yes, it's an enforceable document. So I suppose if President Trump's counsel sought to enforce it, they potentially could.
Including the weaponization fund?
Well, they could try to enforce the contract. They can't force the Department of Justice to move forward with the weaponization fund. They could potentially say that, I suppose, that we breached by not moving forward. They haven't done that, and I'm not aware that they're planning on doing that. Like I said, Senator, and Senator Durbin talked about this, but I've talked extensively with you and other colleagues about potentially codifying so there's no weaponization fund, which is certainly something that could be done. And I wasn't meaning to insult this body, but just that in response to questions from senators about whether that could be done, we very much are okay with that.
But just to be clear, the President of the United States, who is a plaintiff in this lawsuit, has not agreed in writing to delete the weaponization fund, and there's no guarantee that he or one of the other plaintiffs might raise that issue by way of a lawsuit and a breach of contract lawsuit in the future.
Well, Senator, the plaintiffs have no power over the fund. The fund was administered solely by the 5 commissioners and through the Department of Justice. So no, they don't have any power with respect to the fund at all. I suppose they could bring a lawsuit and then we would litigate it. But even if we were litigating it, there's no fund. So the results of such litigation, whatever it would be, wouldn't be a revival of the fund.
Thank you, John Cornyn. Let's bring in our friend Jim Acosta, host of the Jim Acosta Show, veteran journalist, CNN refugee, and my friend Jim. So that hearing was interesting today, and I thought Cornyn was one of the most effective questioners, because what I got between him and Dick Durbin is that the slush fund may be paused, and he claims it's gone, but technically it's not gone. It's still there and could be revived at any moment. Is that how you read it?
Yeah, that's how I read it too. I mean, it sort of reminds me of that line from The Princess Bride. It's only mostly dead. Right. Todd Blanche is trying to say that it's dead. It's not dead. And it sounds as though baked into the language of this thing is a way for Trump to bring it back from the dead. And so this thing is not over. But to me, what was really clear after watching today's testimony is that Todd Blanche is not ready for prime time. He is not ready to be the Attorney General of the United States. And when he's blurting things out like, I'm his lawyer, and then he tries to cover that up and say, oh, I was his lawyer. That is not a good look, particularly with, in light of all of the questions that are swirling around him and his nomination, the way he has been acting like Donald Trump's personal attorney as it relates to the Epstein files, as it relates to so many things. And that was my big takeaway from today, is that Todd Blanche is just not ready for being the Attorney General of the United States. But I will say the other takeaway, I guess, and I don't know how I'm curious how you feel, Joy, is I think the Democrats could have been a lot tougher. I think we really needed to drill down on Todd Blanche's role in that Situation Room meeting that was reported on by Maggie Haberman that J.D. Vance presided over. That they apparently were in crisis mode over the Epstein files. The rest of the country didn't know that. I would have liked to have heard, maybe 2 or 3 of those senators really drill down on that. I think they may have touched on it a little bit in terms of why was Ghislaine Maxwell moved over to that minimum security prison. I think Cory Booker asked that line of questioning. But I mean, all in all, it's about what you would expect from one of these hearings. But Todd Blanche did not, even under not very withering, questioning, he did not do any favors for himself.
Yeah, I mean, the question of where he said, "I'm his lawyer," that was Senator Kennedy, like his ally that's going to vote for him, that brought that out. And it was Cornyn, I think, even better than Dick Durbin, who brought out this real, sort of damning fact that the slush fund, as you said, is only mostly dead. And I would just want for our audience, and this is the context that I think gets missed when people look at this slush fund. Donald Trump is seeking 1776, honestly, just to pay off the January 6th insurrectionists, including violent insurrectionists. But when his tax returns were exposed, the guy, Chris Littlejohn, went to prison for it. He exposed the confidential data of more than 405,000 taxpayers, not just Trump. He stole the records of Donald Trump and along with thousands of the nation's wealthiest individuals. 89% of the taxpayers were business entities. None of those people would be receiving any compensation from the slush fund. That's not who it's for. He's never even suggested it. No one's ever asked him if any of those people would get it. The only people who would get it and the immunity would be Trump, his kids, and his businesses. Isn't that something that should be brought up tad bit more often?
I think it should be, to me, one of the more undercovered stories of this year is the second part of that weaponization fund deal, that he was carving out for himself this immunity from being audited by the IRS, that his family was going to be immune from being audited by the IRS or prosecuted for just about anything under the sun. And it's that coupled with this financial disclosure form that shows that Donald Trump has been, turning the White House into a whorehouse and just, taking this country for a ride and bilking his supporters and taking in all of this foreign money, at places like World Liberty Financial and so on. So we're not allowed to investigate any of that stuff from here to Timbuktu. I don't think so. And it seems to, that would be something to grill Todd Blanche on. But we're living in just an ocean of corruption right now in America, and Donald Trump is Lord Poseidon in all of this. Maybe I'm just getting too stoked to see the Odyssey. But the corruption is at levels that only, we would have thought would have been part of mythology or something, but it's damn real.
Yeah. We need an attorney general hatched from an egg who can mesmerize the Democrats into asking, I would have loved to hear someone ask, Pam Bondi said you're the one who was keeping the Epstein files covered up. I didn't see that. That was a question I was waiting for and didn't get.
A lot of, and I talked to one of the survivors earlier today, and Jess Michaels, and she was saying how she was very disappointed and how all of this went down. And, when Blanche was asked, will you meet with the survivors? And he wouldn't even come out and say that. He said, well, I've got some people who will meet with you. And he's very lawyerly about that. And I guess it's because he doesn't want to get in the same room with the survivors and have them ask, why is Donald Trump in the Epstein files 38,000 times? And why did you move Ghislaine Maxwell to a club fed and so on? And so the weaselly, nature of this testimony, the weasel factor was cranked up to 11 big time.
Yeah, indeed. Jason, I don't know if you can skip to A9. The Epstein victims, they actually made a video in advance of today's hearings in which they did make themselves heard, because they certainly weren't heard. And I'm surprised. I guess you can't call witnesses at these things, but I would love to hear from them. Here is their video.
Was released.
My phone number was released.
Where I went to school.
Where I live.
My students can now search me and read about my abuse.
I am an Epstein survivor.
I am an Epstein survivor.
I am an Epstein survivor.
We were exposed.
Nude pictures of victims were released.
Our family's safety was put at risk.
Now, Todd Blanche wants to be the Attorney General of the United States.
Todd Blanche had a duty to protect us.
Instead, he protected the people
who committed crimes against us.
30 years.
1,200 victims.
And 6 million files.
A mountain of evidence.
But Todd Blanche says there are no investigative leads.
Todd Blanche failed us.
He failed victims everywhere.
We deserve better.
Our country deserves better.
Vote no on Todd Blanche for Attorney General.
Vote no.
No.
No. No.
Vote no on Todd Blanche for Attorney General.
Jim, one of the other lines of questioning, Todd Blanche could not, he sort of fumbled the answer on whether anyone besides, this was again Kennedy asking him, did anyone besides Jeffrey Epstein abused those young women. And he fumbled the answer and said something to the effect of there were no other men other than men who were themselves victims of Jeffrey Epstein, which I don't understand what he meant.
Yeah.
Have any of these victims been able to meet with any of the senators to tell them in person why they should vote no?
That's a great question. I mean, I think that they have met with Democratic senators, and they certainly feel like they're being heard by those Democratic senators. Jess Michaels, who I was speaking with earlier today, said they are seeking an audience with Senator John Cornyn. They want to meet with Senator John Cornyn. They want to meet with Senator John Kennedy. They want to meet with Senator Tom Tillis, because they feel like once these lawmakers hear their stories and hear what they've been going through and hear the outrageous bullshit that, I mean, nobody has been arrested as part of this scandal besides besides Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. That's totally crazy. And yet they've arrested people for allegedly vandalizing the reflecting pool. They arrested people for that, but not as part of the biggest sex trafficking ring probably in world history in modern times. I mean, it's absolutely astounding. But those survivors are really trying to get their voices heard in some of these lawmakers' offices. Because my understanding is that John Cornyn is sort of on the fence at this point. He has not stated whether or not he's going to support this, as far as I know from as of this broadcast today. And, you know, if he's persuadable, it may just take one senator for this whole house of cards to come down.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm the survivors, I'm knocking on Tillis's door. I'm knocking on Bernie Moreno's door. His daughter was just the victim of physical violence by a Republican member of Congress. That's her husband, or soon-to-be ex-husband. I'm knocking on Cornyn's door. I'm definitely knocking on Rand Paul's door. I mean, there is a possibility, particularly with Mitch McConnell incapacitated and Lindsey Graham. I mean, his sister will vote in his place, presumably. Yeah. But, you know, it's a shakier majority. Is it sort of pinging around Capitol Hill that at least one victim of sexual abuse related to the friend group of Epstein, E. Jean Carroll, who was victimized by Donald Trump, sexually abused by her? She's finally gotten some of her money. She posted, this is A10 Jason, on her Twitter hand, I think it was either on Blue Sky or Twitter, that she's gotten her money. She said the eagle has landed. So she's gotten 5.6 million. Trump now only owes her a mere 86 million more.
I mean, it took how many years to get him to pay up? I mean, think of all the contractors in New York, you know, the welders and the pipe fitters and the masonry people and whatnot who have tried to get Donald Trump to pay up over the years. E. Jean Carroll had to go to hell and back to get Donald Trump to pay up. And it's absolutely astounding. But I mean, this just goes to show, I mean, this is his playbook. And that's why, going back to the weaponization fund part of the conversation, you better believe that if Todd Blanche during that testimony was saying, oh, the doors open ever so slightly, you know, Donald Trump is going to want to drive a Mack truck through that. Yeah. And, you know, to me, you know, E. Jean Carroll, she's one of the heroes in all of this, and she really has led the way. And I see a lot of the same courage with these Epstein survivors. I know you do too, Joy. When to think about what they've been through on this journey, it was about a year ago, almost to the day, when Kash Patel and Pam Bondi tried to sweep it under the rug. They put out that memo that said, nothing to see here. There's nothing going on here. What Epstein files? What's that all about? They tried to sweep it under the rug, and look at all of the stuff that we've learned over the last year. It's absolutely staggering. We would not have known about some of these very serious allegations that pertain to Donald Trump, or that he's been in there 38,000 times, or that we still have millions of files apparently that have not been released. And where are the videos? And where, I mean, the Zorro Ranch in New Mexico. When I was talking to Jess Michaels, she was saying, what about the Zorro Ranch? When are we going to hear more about the Zorro Ranch? The New Mexico authorities are saying to the Justice Department, you are not helping us with this. What is going on here? And so, I mean, the list goes on and on. It's atrocious. It
is atrocious. I think between that and the lingering stench of January 6th, I think these are kind of the big, unsort of tapped wells of opportunity for Democrats if they choose to use them. I'm going to play two quick clips for you because I want to ask you your thoughts on what we're going to see, what sort of spectacle we're going to see tomorrow night. The first one, Jason, is A7. This was a layup. And this was the one time that Todd Blanche actually gave an answer that made it appear his soul was still in his body. And it was something kind of risky for him to do. Because this was the one time he did not seem to be in this moment performing for Donald Trump. Jason, if you got A7, you can let it roll.
Is President Trump, just as a simple matter of constitutional law, eligible to run for another term as president in 2028?
I don't believe he is, no.
That is a correct, in my view, reading of the plain language of the 22nd Amendment.
I think Chris Coons was genuinely stunned and shocked that he answered the question. And as was I. I mean, we've now gotten so used to judges, people who are up for, permanent seats on the federal judiciary, being able to answer the question, did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election? Win or lose it? And they can't do it. Were you surprised that he actually answered that?
I was surprised. Maybe that means that Donald Trump has given that one up. I don't know. I mean, they sort of are, they're sort of like the see and say toy. You pull the string and they say only certain things. This is a duck, this is a Blanche. And, that was one of those moments where I thought, it must be preordained now that maybe Trump's like, screw it, I'm out of here. I've had enough. I've made enough money here. I've made $2 billion off made up currency. I guess I'm okay now. But, the other thing, too, is you flash over to the Jay Clayton hearing that was taking place. He wants to be the director of national intelligence, and they had a separate hearing for that. And he was asked, who won the 2020 election, and it was John Ossoff, and he would not answer the question. Right. He would not answer the question. They won't. And it's astounding. And as we're now 24 hours away or so from Trump giving this Looney Tunes speech to the nation on election integrity, which really means I want to steal another election.
Yes.
And it is surprising that Todd Blanche answered the question in that way. But I also wonder, what it was that was unsaid in that moment. Perhaps there was something that was unsaid in that moment.
Well, let's see one of the things that might have been unsaid. This is Chris Coons one more time. He asked him another one. Now at this point, he thinks I'm on a roll. Let me ask him another easy one. This is A8.
How many people were convicted of assaulting law enforcement officers on January 6th?
I believe around 120 approximately, but I could be off a few more.
You are. The answer is more than 200. And how many of those individuals had their sentences commuted or were pardoned by President Trump?
President Trump either commuted or pardoned every defendant from the January 6 events.
That's correct.
So, that one was not so much of a layup, but the pardoning of those 1,600, including very violent felons, I think is another one of the big undercovered stories. Donald Trump has seized ballots in Fulton County. They've done something similar in Arizona. They're attempting to intimidate all these swing states that he lost in 2020. It seems clear to me that underplaying the violence of January 6th and the assaults on law enforcement, that's all part of rehabilitating the January 6th insurrection as an attempt to save democracy in preparation to try to steal this coming election. Is that overreading it in your view?
No, I've been trying to shout this from the rooftops, Joy. I'm very worried about what Donald Trump is going to say in this primetime address to the nation on Thursday night. I think the networks are totally nuts if they take this speech live. It is totally crazy to put his batshit Looney Tunes conspiracy theories on live national television without fact checkers in real time. And some of the networks will say, well, we'll have some fact checkers on afterwards. And the fact checkers will come on and say, well, there isn't any evidence to support his claims. It's all baloney, kabuki, Washington, D.C. theater. He has never, ever proven any of these things. He has lost the benefit of the doubt. We should not be erring on the side of putting these things out there. And I totally agree with you that he's chumming the waters for not trusting the midterms. And I think he's on the verge. I think what he's trying to do is plot out a scheme to create sort of a 52-car pileup around the midterm elections and say, see, you can't trust these results over here in this state or these results over here in that key district that may determine the control of the House. And gosh, Mike Johnson, maybe we just shouldn't seat a new Congress right away. And maybe we should just all go to court and have the courts untangle this. And oh, golly, that's going to take until May or June of next year. And that, to me, is a terrifying thought. It's a scenario. I've covered Donald Trump a long time. I have to think that scenario is just kind of going in the back of his head. Yeah. And, the least that the networks can do at this point is not platform these lies, to not allow him to chum the waters with this nonsense and bullshit. And I think that it's a very serious moment for the television networks in this country. It could be a milestone that could mark when we passed an authoritarian threshold in this country where the networks just said, okay, we'll put your bullshit lies out there. When these are the same things that he said after 2020, and people like Mike Lindell, who's nominated or he's endorsing for governor of Minnesota and so on, it's all baloney. He's never proven it. And so we should not trust him for a second when he starts talking about this stuff.
Well, I can tell you that tomorrow night, so we're going to be doing live coverage of this. And what I would like to do, because we'll have the ability to stop and pause and fact check in real time, which I think is something that I wish networks could do as well. Like when he says something, you should be able to respond to it right away, pause the video, and correct it on in the moment. Because I think letting it go until the very end and then doing the, like you said, the 20-car pileup of corrections at the end is less effective if he can get it all out. And the thing is that he's going to do this on all of the networks. They're going to all cover it live. And then there might be some excellent fact checking at the back end. But I think the ability, and I'm interested in testing it tomorrow night, the ability to pause in real time and be like, yeah, that's bullshit. And then play a little more and then say, yeah, that's also bullshit.
Yeah,
I think it might be a way to do it. We're going to give it a shot. What do you think?
No, I mean, you may be pausing a lot. It's sort of like the TiVo may break. It may just start smoking off in the living room there. But you got to give it a try. And I feel sorry for people like Daniel Dale. I feel like he's going to break a pencil, writing these notes down on his notebook.
His eyeballs are going to pop out of his head like Beaker at some point because he's got to now fact check like an hour. If he speaks for first of all, we're not going to play. If he talks for more than like 20 minutes, like we're done. We're not doing like the whole thing. But he's going to have to fact check like an hour of bullshit. Like what is he going to do? Jim Acosta, I appreciate you. We're trying to lure you into our web tomorrow night. So let me know if you feel like coming on, and we'll drink during it, by the way.
And you know me, I love you to death and I'll do anything for you. So I appreciate it. I got to check. I have other bosses to check with.
I know. Check with your
who I'm married to.
check with the Acosta in charge and let me know.
There you go. That's it. That's exactly it.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Joy. Great to see you.
Thank you so much. All right, let me very quickly note that the Joy Reid Show is brought to you. Listen, by the way, tomorrow night, before we get into all that, we're going to make sure we cook some dinner because you got to eat and be prepared and have your sustenance ready to go. And if you're going to cook, you might as well cook on Hexclad.
If you want the performance of stainless steel, the versatility of cast iron, and the convenience of non-stick, then you want Hexclad.
That's right. Hexclad is actually the best pans and pots you will ever have. They are so gorgeous. First of all, they're so pretty. You don't want to put them on the fire, but they can take like up to 900 degrees Fahrenheit, like high heat. And then they come out looking beautiful. You can put them in the dishwasher. Who can put pots in the dishwasher? You can use metal implements on them. Does not phase them. So get rid of them old pots and pans that your granny gave you. Your auntie pots and pans you're still using. Not good. They're going to make your eggs like stick to them. You're not going to be able to fry an egg on them. You're going to want to use Hexclad. They are gorgeous and they're the best, literally, last pans you're ever going to have to buy, last pots you're ever going to have to buy, whether you're hosting this summer, whether you just want to make everyday cooking easier, you want to use them. Non-stick surface, incredible. They brown things with a breeze. You can put oil, butter, whatever you want on them, and they wash clean beautifully and nothing sticks to them. They're gorgeous. So if you want to get yourself a pair of really the best pots and pans you will ever use in your entire life and get 10% off, just use our exclusive link. Just go to hexclad.com/joy. And you can support our show. You can check them out, hexclad.com/joy. Please let them know that we sent you. Trust me when I tell you they're gorgeous. You're going to love them. Give them as a gift too if you have a foodie or a big time cook in your house. Okay. So there's still lots of questions about glitchy Mitch McConnell and also many conspiracy theories about the death of Lindsey Graham. Senator Ron Johnson made matters worse before taking it back.
A picture that I'm not sure I believe is actually Mitch McConnell from the hospital after what I've heard and what I've seen. Do you believe Mitch McConnell is the one who said, I'm okay, here's the picture of my wife, Elaine Chao, and I in that hospital bed?
Well, I just heard from some other source that was a older photo. So I really don't know. I haven't talked to Mitch. I certainly wish he and his family well. I hope he can recover. it's sad to watch people age, no matter who that person is.
Wishing her well in this new role for the next 6 months. Senator Graham's sudden death and also Senator McConnell's health mystery are leading to renewed calls for more transparency from Congress. On Monday, you said that you're not sure that the photo that Senator Mitch McConnell shared of himself and his wife over the weekend in the hospital is even a new picture. What made you say that? And I'm curious if you've gotten any more clarity on that, Congressman.
Well, the TV host was saying it was AI, and I just said, well, I'd heard that maybe it wasn't the most recent photo. I have no idea. I mean, just discount all that. From my standpoint, I wish Leader McConnell well. I hope he recovers. I hope he returns to the Senate and can help support President Trump's agenda.
Yeah.
When was the
Okay, man. Yeah, okay, man. Joining me now is an actual expert, someone who actually does know what he's talking about, Dr. Bernard Ashby. And I'm just going to read all of his things. He is a quadruple board-certified cardiologist, health tech founder, professor, and nationally recognized advocate for health equity, and also just one of our favorite cardiologists and heart experts. Hey, Dr. Ashby, how are you?
Hey, Joy. Pleasure to be back. How you doing?
Thank you. Welcome back. Yes, exactly. It's a great reunion, reunited with our favorite cardio guy. So do you have questions? And I know I texted you the ones I had about, we're going to get to Lindsey Graham in a moment, but with Mitch McConnell, when you look at the condition that he was in previously, where he froze a lot of times, he seemed to be having strokes standing up. It definitely appeared that he was having mini strokes at best and freezing. Then you see a picture of him, but he doesn't go on camera. He just allegedly types a Facebook post or someone types it for him. To you as a physician, what does that tell you?
So, prior to this cardiac arrest that he had, it was clear that he was having neurological events, and whether or not it was related to a stroke, that would be inferring a bit much based on the available information. What we can confirm is he had a neurological event. He's had multiple falls. And so based on that information alone, I could create what we call a differential diagnosis, meaning that there's a couple of things or a number of things that could be causing these symptoms. And then you kind of go through it and then you do testing to confirm or negate that diagnosis. For me, based on the available information, at the top of my differential diagnosis prior to this cardiac arrest was that he probably had some kind of neurovascular issue, probably an aneurysm of some kind. Now, the differential again is broad, but based on that information, if you have a aneurysm that's pressing down on the nerves, basically, in the brain, they can cause things like glitches or things like falls and other things such as progressive neurodegeneration as well. And he exhibited all of those things, but also in addition to that, he's 84 years old. So just based on the fact that he's of an advanced age, his likelihood of just dying, for lack of a better word, I'm sorry, is high, meaning that his prognosis is poor based on the fact that he's older and he has multiple comorbid conditions and he clearly has declining functional capacity. And as a result of that, in a lot of places, he would qualify for hospice based on the available information prior to the cardiac arrest.
And, in this Facebook post that someone, and I need to be accurate from a journalistic point of view, the only thing we can really say is someone posted a picture of Mitch McConnell with his wife from some point in time, which Ron Johnson said first he thought was old, and then he said he doesn't know, and a lengthy text post instead of a video post. But in that post, whoever posted that said in Mitch's voice, supposedly, that he didn't have a cardiac arrest. But I want you to listen to the actual 911 call that is allegedly from the day that Mitch was last hospitalized. Take a listen.
Hi, great communications. East Army supervisor, CPR in progress. Okay.
EMS to respond for cardiac arrest. 217, please, 3 notice, yes, in Charlie.
So people may not understand all of the things that the dispatcher is saying, but I thought I heard cardiac arrest. Would it be odd for someone to say they didn't have a cardiac arrest when it does appear obviously that he did?
Well, Joy, yes and no. Okay, so I was unaware of that Facebook post, so to be clear, but based on what we know at this point is that when first responders are arriving at a scene, they don't necessarily know exactly what's happening. So they can't necessarily make a diagnosis. They could only go based on the available information at the time. And so when you're in doubt, meaning that if you're a first responder, the patient's unconscious, doesn't appear to be breathing, you don't feel a pulse, you initiate CPR. And then after a round of CPR, you go and you check a pulse, and maybe there was a pulse that they might have missed and recalibrated things. And the reason why I'm entertaining that scenario is because of the footage that was released with him going into the ambulance. You know, if somebody was actively undergoing ACLS, you would expect that the patient would be intubated, they would have IVs in their arms, there would be a lot of activity while they get them to the ambulance. Instead, you saw people just kind of moving relatively slowly. I mean, not necessarily slowly, but without urgency. And again, he only had oxygen on him. He was clearly unconscious, and the staffers were crying. So it's unclear exactly what happened at that point, but something neurological at a minimum happened, right? With a cardiac arrest, that and it is de facto neurological, right? So if you go into cardiac arrest, you don't perfuse the brain and you go unconscious because of that. So I am not clear on what's happening, but what I do know, what I can tell you is that you can infer a lot based on the availability of information or the lack thereof. And in Lindsey Graham's case, it's interesting that they were very forthcoming with a preliminary autopsy report, where on the other hand, with Mitch McConnell, his staff, his medical team are being extremely tight-lipped when you would expect them to be more reassuring to the public and his constituents, particularly in this perilous time. So you could just do the math, and yes, I'm inferring, but you reported on this administration. I've been on multiple shows, and I kind of understand how the political media communications PR dynamic works. And so if he had the ability to come out and be reassuring, do a video, do anything that would put people's fears at ease, because obviously people are concerned. I mean, who wouldn't be? He would, but he's not. So take from that what you will, but it's pretty obvious that there's, for lack of a better word, a cover-up happening that's involving his staff.
Yeah, I mean,
and the powers that be.
Exactly. Well, to your point, I mean, AOC has come out and she said she's not even sure it's legal for people to just keep saying, well, we've talked to him for 20 minutes and assuring you spoke to him. Again, if you can talk to him for 20 minutes, then I can talk to him. I could interview him, or he could do a video.
Or he could talk in front of a camera for 20 minutes.
Get in front of a camera. And it would actually be quicker to do a video than for someone to type an 8-paragraph long Facebook post and then a second Facebook post about Lindsey Graham. Like, there's a lot of typing going on where you could just talk into a camera. And can we infer, because there is another report from the local Lexington paper, that he will not be returning to Congress and able to actually vote anytime soon? If he cannot speak, would you call that incapacitated as a physician?
Well, yes. If he can't speak, if he can't communicate, if he's unconscious, I mean, obviously, right? He's incapacitated. Now that is has some scientific or at least some medical connotations so I don't want to necessarily throw terms around too loosely. But based on the available information, okay, there's no way Mitch McConnell is coming back to serve in the Senate. That's not happening. Okay, so take from that what you will, but whether or not they admit to what's going on, whether or not it was a cardiac arrest, whether or not he had ACLS and CPR, that is a moot point. All we know is that he's an 84-year-old man with multiple comorbidities that had an acute event and has been hospitalized for about a month now, or over a month. So that in of itself indicates a very high mortality. In short term, or in a relatively short term, meaning less than 6 months, he would qualify for hospice.
Yeah. And he also has a Democratic governor. And so therein lies the reason that they don't want to proceed with what would be the normal course with an 84-year-old man who's got clearly a lot of problems, physical problems. Let's go on to Lindsey Graham. There's been a lot of conspiracy theorizing about Lindsey Graham's death. He had an aortic dissection. First, if you could just explain what's the difference, if any, between an aortic dissection and a heart attack.
That's a great question, Joy.
Thank you.
And I'm happy I get to answer that question. It's rare that I get to talk about something that I'm so passionate about. But aortic dissection is basically when the wall of the aorta is tearing, okay? And that is different from a heart attack, which is a blocked artery in the coronary distribution, meaning the arteries that are supplying the heart. So the heart is, a big muscle, and then the aorta comes out of it, and I call it I-95. And the first exits off an I-95 are actually the coronary arteries, which supply the heart with blood. And so when those arteries get blocked and the tissue that is downstream from it dies, that's what we call a heart attack or a myocardial infarction.
So if he died of an aortic dissection, can that be caused by chemicals? Is it only something that happens because of deterioration of the arteries or some other natural event? Or can it be induced, i.e. by like poison?
Joy, you really asked me that on my ear. I was going to keep that on the low, okay?
I mean, that's what everyone wants to know, Dr. Ashby. It is the question people are asking. Is it possible? Or is it just something we should put out of our minds?
Yeah, I think it's the latter. It's rare that Congress or the political class is forthcoming with information. And it was very interesting to me that the coroner immediately came out with a preliminary report. That's unusual, particularly in this circumstance. Usually a coroner or someone who's performing the autopsy wants to be very careful in what they communicate to the media, because the implications could be very much severe, for lack of a better word. So and he was very specific about the cause of death. He said that Lindsey Graham had an atherosclerotic induced aortic dissection from pre-existing heart disease. And so what that leads me to believe is that he had pre-existing plaque in his coronary arteries, and he was at risk for a heart attack, but he also had plaque in the aorta, and that plaque in the aorta likely ulcerated and penetrated into the wall of the aorta. That's what we call a penetrating aortic ulcer. And that led to the dissection, which ultimately led to the demise. And again, that's very specific and very unusual. So I could throw out conspiracy theories with the best of them, or I could create different scenarios, but this seems relatively straightforward. And yes, it's what we call an event that is highly unlikely in terms of the distribution of the population. Maybe about 10,000 people a year die from aortic dissection, but it can happen to anyone, particularly a 71-year-old man. I don't know his medical history, but if he had uncontrolled hypertension, that is a pre-existing risk factor, in addition to the fact that they did communicate to us that he had pre-existing heart disease, which I infer as pre-existing coronary artery disease.
Yeah, and his father actually died of a cardiac event, and they didn't specify which kind, at about 69, 70 years old. He's about that same age. So one can infer that there's some sort of also family history, right? That also plays a part.
Yeah, 100%. I did not know that. That's very interesting. I'm really interested in this case now. I'm like, all right, it could be just atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease, but does he have a genetic defect? Does his family have a history of things like Marfan syndrome or Ehlers-Danlos? So, the nerd in me wants to, dig a little more and just find out exactly what the context of this event was. But as far as conspiracy theories go, I don't really think it's related to poison or, Russians bombing the drone factory in Kiev. I just think it's pretty straightforward. It's atherosclerotic plaque that ulcerated and led to a type A aortic dissection and cardiac arrest.
Or as a source of mine who was a friend of his put it, he worked himself to death. He just didn't have family or other distractions. He just worked all the time, came back from his trip, traveling, and just went back to work.
Yeah, it's interesting that he was scheduled to go on Meet the Press on Sunday, and he passed away the night before that. And folks reported that he actually didn't report that he didn't feel well. I don't think he specified whether or not he was having pain, but with dissections, a lot of times you do have chest pain. It may not be typical chest pain, but in most cases, it's like a tearing chest or back pain. And what we say in medicine is that every hour, there's a 1% increase in mortality with aortic dissections. And so if you would have went to the hospital before that, there's a good chance that he would have survived. He went to either GW or Washington, what they call Washington Medical Center, but probably GW, and the staff and the facilities there, particularly in the Department of Cardiology, is outstanding. And I say that because I trained there. That's where I did my cardiology fellowship. So those folks, if they would have gotten to him in time, he would have likely have been alive. So it's unfortunate that he delayed getting care, which likely ultimately led to his demise, which is sort of ironic.
It's ironic. This story that we're told, at least from published reports, is that he called a staffer rather than 911, and then that staffer called a staffer to Senator Tommy Tuberville. And the staffer asked him, well, why didn't you call the hospital? And he said, well, that's why I called you, because he was having chest pains. So you're right. If that first call had been maybe to 911 rather than to a staffer who called another staffer, we don't know. You never can know what's going to happen. But Dr. Bernard Ashby, it always is great to talk with you. Thank you for helping us, educating us, and nerding out with us on these issues. And you're welcome for the wormhole.
Thank you. Thank you, Joy.
Nerd
I
out.
enjoyed this.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And we love to let anybody else nerd out with us. Dr. Ashby is great. All right. Welcome to hour 2 of the Joy Reid Show. Now, y'all got an education. See that? You didn't even have to go to medical school to find out what an aortic dissection was. And yes, a source of mine did say, who knows Lindsey Graham very well, that they just believe he worked himself to death. But I had to ask the question because that is the question people are asking. And you've got a lot of conspiracy theorists out there who think that it's something else. But at least according to our expert, it appears that that is what was going on. So welcome to hour 2 of the Joy Reid Show. Now, if you have not hit like and subscribe, why not? I mean, you obviously like what you're doing, what you're watching. If you have a comment and you want to answer our question of the night, what do you think is the most batshit thing Donald Trump is going to say tomorrow night? And you can also tell us what you think, because you heard Jim Acosta say he thinks it's irresponsible of the networks to just play Donald Trump's entire speech and then fact check it at the end. Our plan is to play it and comment all the way through it and talk over him and pause it as needed.
I probably started rethinking that. Do you think we should just play it and talk about it after? We should also take notes, because stopping it and playing is going to kind of throw the rhythm off.
No, I think you have to stop it, because I think Jim makes a really great point.
Should we take 3 stupid ass lies, then stop, then do another?
Yeah. I think you take a little bit, and when he says something egregious, I think you just pause the tape, and then we pop back in and correct it in real time. And when I used to do interviews, this was always my method.
I get that. Yeah,
I correct in real time, like, right? So
no, that's smart. When you're doing, if you have this is basically a person giving a speech, and we're gonna be pausing the speech,
right? And if it was a normal person, it was Barack Obama or Joe Biden giving a speech, we just play it, and then we would talk afterwards.
I think we should assume he's going to lie his ass off
all the way through it.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, so let us know what you think.
Should we stop? Also, should we stop the interview or just play through and then talk about it later? I think that's
it's a good question. So stop it throughout and pause and correct it in real time, because literally I watch these things with my laptop open, and normally when I used to do it on the artist formerly known as MSNBC, she's Ms. Now we call her by her name, Ms. Now. I would have my laptop open, and all of us who were sitting on the desk, you would see we had our laptops open or we're typing into computers, because we were literally fact checking, and we had producers behind the scenes also fact checking and rushing us out information. So we were constantly preparing, but our fact check was always at the end. So at the end, we finally get to say all of our pieces, and we'd go around the table and we would give each of our fact checks as we wanted. But I think to Jim Acosta's very cogent point, it makes a lot more sense if you can actually stop him right then and there. Don't let him get to the end of an hour of lying and then try to hurry up fact check it like Daniel Dale is going to be forced to do at CNN. It's better if you can pause him right then and there, in my opinion, correct it in the record, so you don't have just a stream of lies.
Well, it seems the chat agrees with you. I'm just, I was just putting a question out there, guys. I'm not trying to be too.
Yeah, we're going to talk over it. And also because, we're going to be playing a little bingo. Now, we have a suggestion from in the team, Jason. The team is suggesting we play bingo, that we have a bingo game, that maybe we get out a bingo card.
We can't do shots because we're going to have to finish this show. And
No,
I'm going to be lean back. Okay, bingo. I haven't played bingo since I was
We're going to do bingo. So we're going to have all the words. So y'all, please give us some words that you think should be in on our bingo card. We should probably have like a 9 box of, or I know the word stolen is going to be a bingo game. One of the clues will be stolen, because he's going to say stolen.
You know what we should do?
Fraud is going to be said a
Right.
lot. You pick the words you think should be on our bingo card, and then you guys can play along with us. And we'll post the bingo card on our Substack page. So if you haven't subscribed to Substack, go to joyandreid.com. It's perfectly free. Go ahead and subscribe. We will send out the bingo card so you guys can play along. Biden, dogs, Democrats. Keep giving us things that
And
you
know
could
what's
put
so
on the
nice?
card.
If we had some type of an app, as he's saying, it's like a word cloud app. It just gets bigger. The word that he says the most,
And it'll
gets
just grow.
bigger. And it starts pushing us off screen.
I'm
and
sure
stuff
Sean can find a word
I'm
cloud.
sure
She's
she
great at
can,
finding these
yeah.
tech things. So we'll
Right.
find some sort of a word cloud thing. So we'll create a word cloud, and let's make it fun, guys. We will play bingo. It's not drag bingo, which is the best bingo. Let's just be honest. But it's going to be our version of bingo. It's going to be TJRS bingo. Democrats. Oh yeah, he'll probably say the word transgender a lot. This is all the YouTube folks. Let's see what the folks in Twitch are saying. He's going to say rigged. Spicy D1 says he's going to say landslide. Obama, definitely Obama is coming up on. Somebody put LMAOOOO, which he's not going to say that, but I just enjoy that. I'm saying that. Let me go over to Substack and see what you guys are saying he might say. Give us some names. They're saying yes, bingo. Oh, hoax. Education is a lamp on Substack says that hoax will be used. Somebody grab the Facebook chat and let's see what he says. We're going to correct it as he speaks. Ballroom may come up. So we're going to play bingo. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make this fun. He will definitely say Biden. He will definitely say Obama, because Obama has a rent-free space in his head. He lives in communism.
I bet you he won't say Epstein tomorrow.
Oh, he won't say Epstein.
Matter of fact, if he says Epstein, we should take shots.
If that's when we drink.
That's when you drink. If he says Epstein, dude, that would be we'll be sober.
That's when you drink. I mean,
we'll be sober.
I mean, we could do our Willie's remedy, because that's not alcohol.
Yeah, but then I'll be leaned back too much.
You'll be like,
and I gotta press these buttons.
You're like, we're chilling, man.
Yeah, man.
Donald Trump is
I don't
lying,
know.
dog.
I don't.
He ain't real, man. He's saying some lies, baby. Yeah, we're gonna be like Willie Nelson for all the girls that love. Fake news, he'll say that for sure. He ain't saying Epstein. One thing we know he will not say: documents, hoax. We got a lot of hoax coming up in the Substack chat. So big ups to everybody that's commenting now. And Jason, people are laughing what you said. The other night when Lindsey Graham died, we didn't get an appearance from Nosferatu. I believe that once Mitch McConnell finally meets his maker and him downstairs, right now him downstairs is Lindsey Graham. But once Mitch McConnell also downstairs, we're going to want Nosferatu to come back. Real quick, let's let you guys know that tomorrow night we'll be wide awake. But before then, you'll be sleeping on a Helix, because this show is brought to you by the good sleep folks at Helix, because guess what? We love it. It's so comfortable. Helix mattresses are one of the best inventions in the world for people who actually need good sleep. Why? Because they are made with top quality materials. We have the Midnight Luxe mattress, which can actually cool you. It keeps you from getting hot and overheated at night. Fabulous. And a good night's sleep, you know what it does. It sets you up for a great day. And what you want, especially if you're a side sleeper, you're a back sleeper, you want to be comfortable, you want to wake up in the morning without pain, but you also want a good deal that doesn't cost a ton and that actually makes it easy for you to get it. Well, Helix offers free shipping, seamless delivery. They deliver your mattress right to your door. Free shipping in the US, fabulous. They also offer a 120-night sleep guarantee, 120-night sleep trial, and a limited lifetime warranty for your mattress. They call it the Happy with Helix guarantee. So you just rest easy, you get seamless returns, exchanges. It's great. It makes it risk-free, customer first, and it makes sure that you're happy. And also you get a great night's sleep. It's an award-winning mattress, the most awarded mattress brand, tested and reviewed by experts like Forbes, Wired, you name it. And so we want to make sure that you get a chance to have your new Helix and you can get into the midst of summer in a great mattress and get a great night's sleep. So go to helix.com/joy for 27% off site-wide. That is helixsleep.com/joy for 27% off site-wide. helixsleep.com, because you got to get sleep. You got to be prepared for the bullshit. All right. So Donald Trump, as we mentioned, is planning to give this bananas crazy speech last night. And one of the things that he's expected to do is to try to delegitimize the elections of Senators John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. Remember, he asked for 11,207 something votes to try to steal the election from Joe Biden in Georgia. But if you're going to say that he really won Georgia, you can't say that and also say that Ossoff and Warnock were rightly elected. So he apparently is going to, at least allegedly, and that has been an on and off piece of reporting from various conservative outlets that said he's going to try to delegitimize them, or maybe not. But Senator Ossoff was actually asked about this and whether or not his Republican colleagues maybe agree that Georgia was stolen. Here is Ossoff's response.
Your Republican colleagues who may agree with the president on this.
I don't know of Republican colleagues who agree with the president on this. Privately, most elected Republicans in this building think the president has lost it and is dooming them to dismal losses this fall. Thank you all so much for your time.
Mike Collins agrees with them, though. Mike Collins agrees with them that the election was stolen.
Let's see how Mike Collins handles this now. Mike Collins launched his general election campaign doubling down on 2020 election denialism. Now he not only has to defend doubling health insurance premiums for more than 1 million Georgians, he has to defend these conspiracy theories about the 2020 election that Georgia voters have rejected time and time again. Thank you all so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm going to start calling him Go-Bama. He's the Georgia Obama. He Go-Bama. I'm liking him more and more and more. I was just asked on a podcast who was on my short list for 2028. And I really think it's probably dangerous to have a short list because everything could change. But I like that guy. Ossoff, he is incredible. He's not just smooth, Maryland. He's brilliant. I'm going to pretty soon post. I've got it teed up to post a March speech that he gave where he talked about the Mar-a-Lago Mafia. Baby, I'm telling you, that guy has a rare talent. A rare talent. They call him Zaddy Ossoff. Zaddy Ossoff says, was this S-A-N-S-A-N-G? What is that? Sassam? Called him Zaddy Ossoff. Is he old enough to be a Zaddy, though, friend? I don't know if he's old enough. But when you think about what Donald Trump is going to say, you have to remember that the lawyers in his employ back in 2020 were very clear that the purpose of the insurrection and the fake electors was to steal the election and stay in power. I want to remind you of a woman named Jenna Ellis. Jenna Ellis is one of the people who took the heat for what Donald Trump was doing. She is an attorney, or at least was an attorney, a conservative lawyer. She was a member of the 2020 re-election campaign's legal team. She's a former deputy district attorney for Wells County, Colorado. And she got caught up in the mess that Donald Trump was trying to do to steal the election. Here is what she said when she was interviewed about what the plan was. Here's Jenna Ellis, Jason at C2.
And at the time period where they were going to start to discuss, what was Dan Scavino's role?
At the time, I believe his title was social media director for the White House. It became deputy chief of staff at the time that the conversation in question took place.
Okay, and when was that?
The conversation was around December 19th of 2020 at the White House Christmas party. And I emphasized him. I thought that the claims and the ability to challenge the election results was essentially over, because he said to me in a kind of excited tone, well, we don't care and we're not going to leave. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, the boss, meaning President Trump, and everyone understood the boss, that's what we all called him. He said the boss is not going to leave under any circumstances. We are just going to stay in power. And I said to him, well, it doesn't quite work that way, you realize. And he said, we don't care.
We're just going to stay in power. And she questioned it, and they said, we don't care. So the goal was to not leave office. Back when Bill Maher was incredibly anti-Trump, he predicted that Donald Trump would not leave office, to a lot of skepticism. And Donald Trump, according to his own former lawyer, was trying to not leave office. The reason for the insurrection, the reason Jack Smith wanted to prosecute Donald Trump for fomenting the insurrection, it was meant to intimidate members of the United States Senate into not certifying the election, so that there would be an up in the air question mark over the election, such that they could cut a deal, as Lindsey Graham pointed out, just like the deal that was cut in 1877 for Rutherford B. Hayes, to have a commission decide who got the electoral college vote, say there was some fraud, there were some questions, have his own fake attorney general who he was trying to appoint, a fraud attorney general, to throw it all in the air and say, let's just let it make a decision. And we've decided in this commission, Donald Trump is the president. That was the goal. That was the plan. And Lindsey Graham used to know that before he decided to fall to his knees and become a Trump sycophant. So put a pin in that. Note that congressional Republicans, and that would be today, they pushed through their budget. And guess what's in their budget? $90 billion for more money for the military, which they don't need. They're already a $1 trillion military, but also for election-related measures. Why would there be election-related measures needed? And then there's this, Jason has just put it up. There's other insurance policy to try to make sure they win the election is to keep the ICE violence going, to keep the killings going and keep the murders going. He's demanded that the ICE detentions restart after none other than Markwayne Mullin, the guy who needs a stress ball to not freak out and flip out and start threatening people, who's the new Department of Homeland Security Secretary who replaced the puppy killer. Markwayne Mullin came out with an edict saying no more traffic stops because we're killing too many people. They killed 2 people in 2 weeks, one in Texas and one in Maine. Donald Trump said, nope, start him again. I want him back. He demanded that the traffic stops return. Meanwhile, the partner of the 26-year-old man who was killed by ICE in Maine with his toddler in the car is posting about him and saying that, she can't live without him. Note that the child was in the car and heard her father killed. His name was Sebastian Duran Guerrero. He was shot and killed by an immigration officer. He was 25 years old. I thought he was 26, but this reporting from WBAL TV says he was 25 years old. His last words were, "I was trying to stop." He was not the target of the ICE raid. And so he's the latest person killed. And Markwayne Mullin said, let's stop doing these raids. Donald Trump said, let's do them again. There have been protests daily in Maine over this. I get hit from 5. This is one of them. You can turn the sound down. The her in question is Susan Collins, who is catching hell because she actually asked. She's the one who went to Markwayne Mullin and said, please, let's pause these ICE raids. This is messing with my reelect, which just shows you the level of her humanity. She's like, pause these ICE raids. I'm going to get unelected. I'm not going to be elected. I'm going to get thrown out because people are outside. That's her office. They're outside her office protesting. But Donald Trump said, F Susan Collins. Meanwhile, one more question from this morning. Todd Blanche was asked about another character in the mass deportations, and that's Tom Homan, who you will recall got a $50,000 kava bag of cash. And this is C7.
Hey, won't you tell us what became of the $50,000 in confidential money that the FBI reported that it gave to Tom Homan?
I'm not aware of what you're speaking about. To the extent that there have been public reporting about an investigation, I know nothing about it.
Well, the public reporting is that the FBI reported giving $50,000 in the nature of a bribe to Tom Homan, and there's been no report of what became of that $50,000. Will you answer that question? Not now, but will you answer that question? Because we've been asking for a long time now. Your department certainly knows what's happening.
I'm not aware that that's true.
Well, take a look at it, and it's publicly reported, and the FBI reported it, and you should answer the question. That's
he's not aware of it. He wants to be Attorney General, but he's not aware of a big story like the FBI catching Tom Homan taking a bag of cash, promising these people he thought were from a private prison company that he would get them contracts if he became the next person in charge of the deportation. If he became deportation czar, he'd hook them up. And that's never been investigated. One more, Jason, this is C6. It turns out that the guy who shot this young man in Maine was a brand new recruit, was not wearing a body camera and had just been recruited to ICE. So they're bringing in people who are untrained, brand new, trigger happy. They're killing people. Even Susan Collins is like, please make it stop. And they're like, absolutely not. And I watched the hearings today, and one of the takeaways I got from it is this is one of the fundamental differences between Democrats and Republicans. Democrats speak about the law, they speak about the Constitution, they speak about human rights and what people deserve, whether they are undocumented or citizens, and the way they want to live. What Republicans universally spoke about today in those hearings is crime, 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 crime. they speak about the country in terms of only three concerns really. Crime, which they perceive as being committed by non-white people and particularly by non-white immigrants, right? They speak about this sort of crime law and order frame. They speak about fraud, but they don't talk about the fraud Donald Trump is doing being committed on his own base, where he's basically getting them to buy crypto and other products that turn out to be money losers for them, but big winners for him. But they want to hone in on what they think is non-white immigrants doing fraud. Those are their two big frames, and tax cuts, tax relief for the rich. So they want to cut taxes and they want to constantly focus your mind on crime. Don't ask me, let's ask Melania Trump.
He would like to have a country that all of the people can walk down the street and not to be harassed or murdered or women raped. I think it's very important. And what happened a few years ago, so many criminals came over the border, and he closed the border now a while back already. And we need to take care of our citizens.
You mean the citizens of Slovenia? It really is telling, because I think it's important to play that, because that is what Trump immigrants are taught and believe, that this is a zero-sum game, that immigrants who look like Melania are the good immigrants because of their complexion, because they are white and European. And the other immigrants that are not white are a morass of criminals, people who just want to steal welfare, fraudsters, thieves, and they need to be deported. And that is it. It is a binary frame. And if you listen to the hearing today, you will find that that is the frame for every Republican, including Todd Blanche. But speaking of people who are not safe, there's a lot of people who feel that young Black men aren't safe, young Black teenagers, young Black people, period, are not safe in this country because we're sort of in the nadir. We're back in the 1920s where people feel like this sort of unsafety is washing over Black lives. So Nolan Wells' parents and their attorneys held a press conference this morning, and they made an announcement of a major change in the case. And here was the bottom line in that announcement. Jason, go for it.
We've just had an opportunity to meet with District Attorney Angel McElgrath and some members of her team. We had a very respectful meeting. The thing I assume some of you may know, the thing to announce, she shared with the family that there will be a grand jury that she will turn this case over to once they have collected all the information and finished their investigation. We also agreed that we will have a mutual inspection of the cell phone with our experts and their experts. Attorney Eric Hertz is helping lead the investigation team with former law enforcement experts who are going to help us with the cell phone download. So everybody will be able to see at the same time what the cell phone has.
And joining me now is veteran journalist Janai Norman. She's a former anchor and correspondent who you will very much remember from Good Morning America. Good to see you, Janai.
Joy, thank you so much for having me on. It's good to see you.
Thank you. Well, what triggered my booking you was this post, which I'm going to play now, that was on your social media. I think that for a lot of our staff, caused us to do some thinking about the ways in which media writ large is talking about this case when they're talking about it at all. So let me play that real quick. I'm going to play you to you. Here's D2.
Nolan Wells' story is eating me up. And so we're going to look at this from a media literacy standpoint, because I saw some really concerning reporting today where a law enforcement official was essentially blaming Nolan for his own death.
Nolan Wells was on a boat. He left from a private dock area in the Ocean Springs area and proceeded with his friends to Horn Island.
Wells was visiting the barrier island 10 miles from the Gulf Coast, boating with friends, last seen about 3 p.m. Saturday.
They left and went back without Nolan. From what we understand, he chose to stay there.
And so I know that the word gaslighting is used and not always in the right way, but this is 10 miles off the coast on a barrier island with his friends who came back. He didn't. They had his phone. They're saying that he chose to stay. Was he supposed to swim? He had no way to call him. They left him for dead. But you have a law enforcement official saying, from what they understand, he chose to stay. He's not saying from what we've been able to determine, what we've been able to confirm and verify. He's saying from what we understand. He understands that because that's what they were told. Why is he repeating what they were told from the friends who left this man to die? Why is he repeating that on national television? Then why is a news organization that has multiple layers of producers as well as a legal and standards department allowing this to be broadcast without pushing back? I didn't even hear the word suspicious in the piece. And I am a Black mother who is at my wit's end with how this country continues to gaslight us and then expects us to stay silent. Because this is not normal. The reporter can only push back so much. So this is not about the reporter. It's about the organizations that handpick the Black faces that then go out and report these stories that are gaslighting to the American public. This is problematic. So this is how I can help by speaking up to say, hey, let's look at this critically. Let's look through a media literacy standpoint. Let's look at the information that's being presented. Let's consider why it's being presented this way, who it's coming from, what's being left out, what questions are not being answered, what questions aren't being asked. This is not okay. This is not how this story should be being reported out. This is the impact of seeing Black and brown journalists systemically laid off, fired, not renewed. Please tag some of your favorite independent journalists below, especially independent Black and brown journalists. And share this video. I'm Janai Norman. I used to do the news. Now I just report the facts and uncomfortable truths. Nolan Wells deserves justice and not to be blamed in the mainstream media for his own death.
And I think that piece, when you talked about the Black journalists who are being deplatformed from mainstream news, I would include you, my sister. A lot of people feel that you are one of those journalists as well. Can you talk about the... Listen, welcome to the club, sister. Welcome to the club. We should call ourselves the Fugees, la, la, la. We the refugees, right? So, I mean, look, the reality is those of us who've done a lot of reporting on Black Lives Matter related cases, and we, again, do not know that this case is a murder case. We do not know what this is. We have to be honest as journalists and say we just know it's a mystery. But to your point, even in a case like this, there's been a lot of rushes to judgment, not just by the police, but by the way the media discusses it.
Absolutely. And Joy, watching that video back, I will say, because I had no idea when I posted that video that it would get the kind of traction that it did. I do wish in hindsight that I hadn't said they left this man to die, because that was an assumption on my part that I was, just talking into the camera. But the thing is I am not working for a news organization right now. And me doing that, I was not reporting the facts. That was not my role. But for journalists, especially journalists who are working for organizations who are covering these stories, they do have an obligation. They do have a responsibility to be focused on fact finding and on making sure that they are reporting the facts, not repeating information that is being handed to them. And I think that a lot of it just goes into when we are thinking of primary and secondary sources and the way that law enforcement and officials have been looked at, because traditionally, and Joy, as a journalist, you hear something from law enforcement. Well, that's what law enforcement said. That's a primary source. You go with it. But in the year of 2026, we should know better. There is enough context to show us better. I was talking with some folks at WHUR yesterday and saying, when it comes to our politicians, we know to second guess them. We know not to just take what they say as the gospel. So why would we treat law enforcement or other officials any differently? It is trust and verify. That's how it should be. And it doesn't seem that is how this story has been handled.
Yeah, and I think in general, law enforcement gets the benefit of the doubt from journalists. We just uncritically report what they say. I remember covering the Tamir Rice case, and law enforcement was absolutely lying about that case. And we were not even permitted to say that law enforcement had tackled Tamir Rice's 14-year-old sister. We couldn't say that because they weren't saying that. And as long as they don't say it, we couldn't say it. And why do you suppose law enforcement gets such benefit of the doubt when we've had cases? There was a case in South Carolina of law enforcement claiming that the man they shot in the back had grabbed the taser of the officer, but a brave bystander had video that showed, nope, he dropped the taser and planted it on the guy after killing him. And all of the media got that story wrong.
So, Joy, there are two things that I want to point out. And in one way, I want to say that journalists don't always take law enforcement's word for the gospel. When it came to Alex Preddy, When it came to Renee Good, that wasn't the case. So when we're talking about Tamir Rice, when we're talking about Nolan Wells, what's the difference there? And I'll tell you what the difference is. It's what the victims look like. So that's first and foremost. When it comes to information that will be reported or won't be reported based on what law enforcement will or will not confirm, well, Joy, why, when we're watching lives being taken in Gaza, will we only report on what the IDF does and does not confirm? Because that is aligned with the biases that the news organizations are pushing. When it comes down to it, Joy, that's what it is.
Yeah. And so in this case now, so we know in the Nolan Wells case, there's now going to be a grand jury. If it is a grand jury in which, unlike the Carmelo Anthony case, there's going to be more openness to allowing people to cover it, we're likely to get a lot of information. But, you know, how do you expect the mainstream media, the corporate media, to handle any sort of conflicts between the private autopsy and the one that's done by the state of Mississippi?
Joy, I expect them to do their jobs. I think that we should all expect them to do their jobs, and we shouldn't expect any less or any more. We should expect them to do their jobs. And just because they haven't done it to this point doesn't mean that it's too late. They can still show up and start doing it the way that they're supposed to. And that's what I hope they will do. That's what I hope me speaking out, posting those videos will do, because it is incumbent upon all of us to do what we can to make the world a better place for all of us. So Joy, if I can help make a difference by applying pressure to national news organizations so that they do think twice about how they report a story, so that producers do think twice about the way things are reported, they make sure that they are getting all the sides, both sides, however many sides there are to be gotten, then we should be doing that. Apply the pressure wherever we can, so hopefully they show up and do their jobs.
One of the challenges, I think, in journalism now is the ubiquity of social media and everyone on social media being a mini detective, which can be great in some ways because it does push the mainstream media. A lot of the sourcing of the video we get, you know, whether it was Michael Brown or, you know, many of these other cases, we're getting the news first from someone on social media who takes a video. George Floyd, same thing. You're seeing somebody take a video and then that becomes part of the news. Then you also have the like detective work that you're seeing Twitter do. Like I was telling you, I thought Twitter was going to find that poor lady from the Today Show Mama before the FBI, right? But does that sleuthing, do you think it enhances journalism or impedes it?
You know, that's really interesting. I think it, if anything, it should only be able to enhance it, because again, the role of journalists are to, not that we want journalists to be the gatekeepers of information, but they should sort of be they should be gatekeepers of information in a sort of sense. They should be vetting information. They should be making sure that information that comes to them, whatever comes out, is just based on the facts and is verified multiple times over before it's put out. So journalists should be gatekeepers in that way. And I think that that's what we should expect from them.
You know, I was watching a social media post, which was very interesting. It was one of these like great outfits that does a lot of man on the street. It is actually my favorite thing. One of the things I would love to add to the Joy Reid Show is man on the street, because I love hearing people just ask questions and answer, because it really just shows you not just what people know, but where they're getting information. And this one particular content creator went to Republicans who were at like a MAGA event or a Trump event and asked where they get their news. And it was actually kind of frightening. People who had very, very, you know, their views or their beliefs were 100% wrong factually. And they almost universally were getting their news from Newsmax and Fox, or from TikTok, or from Twitter. A lot of them were getting it from Twitter. How has that impacted our ability to cohese as a society? Because you really do have a cohort of Americans who are locked in an information universe that is all about brown, black people bad, brown immigrants bad, crime, 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 brown, black people crime. And they're just locked in an information universe where you can't even get at them with facts. I mean, that to me seems like it's one of the reasons that we can't have a cohesive country.
Well, and I think, Joy, that it's part of why a story like the Nolan Wells story and the post that I've done has really gotten a lot of attention, because I've taken the angle of media literacy. And I think no matter what side of the aisle you're on, no matter where you fall in the political spectrum, who could disagree with media literacy? Who would disagree that we should be thinking critically about the media we're consuming. Whether someone knows how to do that or not, I think people would agree that we should be able to and should be doing that. And so to the point of your last question about when there are internet sleuths out there and how should that impact journalists, well, journalists should absolutely be very well versed in media literacy and knowing what is the difference between fact and fiction and sourcing and all of these things. It is incumbent upon us as Americans to educate ourselves. Just like when it comes to voting, we have to educate ourselves and do our homework. We have to be interested enough in educating ourselves. And one thing that I have loved about posting the videos through a media literacy lens is that I've had people reach out to me and say, I thought that I was media literate, but you were bringing things to my attention that I wouldn't have thought about, that I wouldn't have listened to the way that these words are put together. I wouldn't have thought, hey, if the reporter doesn't say authorities say, well, then
Right.
who says so? So it is learning those basic skills that unfortunately many people don't get in schools, which is a whole nother issue. But
Yeah.
media literacy is so important for all of this stuff.
Yeah, and it's getting even harder because I'm gonna tell you right now, I have looked at that Mitch McConnell photo with his wife 857,000 times. And I can't tell if it's
collar.
we're all like scrutinizing it, and AI, it's so easy to get fooled by AI now that it's almost like you can't believe your own eyes. So I know you are writing a memoir. Little Birdie told me you're writing a memoir, and I understand that at least the working name is Breaking News, Barriers, and Stigmas. Tell me about this memoir. When are we going to get our hot little hands on it?
Yes, so that is the title, Breaking News, Barriers, and Stigmas, a memoir of choosing myself. It is out January 5th. 2027. You can pre-order it now by going to my website, janainorman.com. Joy, it takes a look at a period of time when I was getting the big promotion to become the weekend anchor of Good Morning America. And for a journalist like myself who came up in local news, who always dreamed of being at ABC News and anchoring GMA, it was the dream. But then sometimes that dream that you are living, what it requires of you, sometimes doesn't always align at the end of the day. And getting that promotion a few months later, I checked myself into a psychiatric unit and I needed help. I needed to do some investigating of myself and relearning of myself and figuring out what was behind my ambition. Why, when I reached some level of success, could I not enjoy it? Why was it always on to the next thing? Why was my worth so wrapped up in my work? And this book takes you on the journey of unlearning that and of setting boundaries and of becoming the woman who I am today, who could withstand all that came after it and has me here talking to you.
Girl, are you Caribbean? My life. What is happening? I appreciate you. I hope I will see you at NABJ. If you will be
Absolutely.
there. Great. Okay, holla. We're gonna have to beat up in hot Atlanta. Janai Norman, we appreciate you. We hope you will come back when the book is live and in living color. Come back, talk about the book again. We'll sell some books. You know, we do sell a lot of books on this show. So please
Yes,
do
ma'am.
come back.
Thank you so much, Joy.
Thank you. All right. She's one of the good ones. So there you go. You're going to be able to get her book. She's going to tell all her truths. And it is a pretty amazing and brave when people are very open and open themselves up to talk about their lives in that way. I do want to note that on Friday of this week, and our Friday show, we are going to hyper focus and do special in-depth coverage of the Nolan Wells case. We've got former FBI Director Frank Figluzzi coming. We've got some of our favorite lawyers, Paul Butler. It's going to be great because we're going to dig deep into this case, the mysteries surrounding it, the questions that remain. Hopefully you guys will tune in for that. We're going to devote most of the show to it. Of course, the top of the show, we got to talk about whatever madness Orange Baby talks about tomorrow night. The orange diaper guy talks about tomorrow night. So we'll wrap that up. But on Friday, most of the show is going to be devoted to the Nolan Wells case and whatever updates are happening therein. All right. And I've got from the chat, I have from my chat back here that you guys are specially requesting the Melania Trump impersonation. Is this Jason, is this YouTube that's asking for the Melania Trump impersonation, or is it, who is it? Is it the Twitchies? We got to figure out who it is. Let's figure. There it is. You know what it is? It's the Twitchies.
Oh, okay.
So Dina Redhead Ed Dragon. He the redhead Ed Dragon said Joy needs to do her Melania Trump. So I knew it was the Twitchies. The Twitchies are always the ones who act up. The Twitchies are always doing it. You want to hear the Melania Trump impersonation? No, you cannot hear it. No touch. No touch, Donald. They want a safe country where the brown immigrants will not be the raping and the hurting and the people and the stealing and the fraud. Only Trump can do fraud. Fraud is for Trump, not for you. Okay? Twitchies. Fraud. Fraud is for Trump, not for you. Fraud is for Trump. Trump steal crypto from stupid people. Stupid buy crypto. And that Trump crypto also Melania. Buy Melania meme coin, it worth nothing. But I get money. I need money. I need money to get family, migrate to country with free visa. Genius visa. Yes, Jason?
Oh, wow.
Jason.
I was wondering what word we think that Trump was going to say the most tomorrow, but I think it's going to be every word because there was so many different words.
Oh, yeah.
Phrases that he would say.
He's going to say Melania. $sign Melania. Melania. No touch. Don't hold hand. Just give me money.
Nosferatu said, I will bite your
No, Nosferatu. Only take Lindsay.
How about you? How about you?
Also take Mitch.
Okay.
To hell.
Let's get on.
Let's move on with it. Let's move on with our lives. So there's been a lot, y'all. There's been a lot. We've got to talk some entertainment. It's not Friday, but we're still gonna make it feel like a Friday right now. Because on Saturday, I'm gonna be in Newark, New Jersey for ViewerCon, which is going to be great. It's going to be so much fun. I have been saying it's like Comic-Con, but for TV. But apparently there's an even better description. And who better to tell us what that description is? Because that's my description, that it's like Comic-Con or Star Trek Con, but for like TV. But better to have Chris Witherspoon just explain it himself. Hey, Chris Witherspoon, hello.
What's going on, Joy? What's going on, Jason? The impersonations took me out just now, by the way.
No, Chris Witherspoon, your teeth are so white. Who did you steal from? Black people steal teeth from white European.
I am calling you Melania. I'm calling you Melania on our drinking nights moving forward. Okay.
You need to. Because remember, Chris and I, we were going to go watch the Melania doc. Remember, we were going to watch the doc and get drunk.
That is so right. Maybe we're going to come on your show and let people have it. Yep.
We still have a date to go watch it. We've had to get drunk. We need to figure out where we can watch. You don't have a TV in Harlem, so we got to figure out where we can watch this documentary.
Oh, we gonna find a place. We gonna find. Okay, I got you.
We gonna make security. We gonna drink and we gonna watch this doc because I need to know what is in it so I can do my impersonation right.
And I still haven't watched it. That's the crazy part. The entertainment guy who covers entertainment still can't bring himself to watch it.
You ain't missed nothing.
Okay.
Before we get on, we're going to talk a little bit more about ViewerCon because we're actually going to do a nice ticket giveaway. We're not going to do it yet, y'all. We're going to get through the segment and then we are going to get ready because we're going to give away some tickets. You guys can come hang out with us in Newark, which is the hot city. Talk a little bit about that because your post, which I just posted to my social media, to my stories, you talk about how Newark is kind of like hot right now.
Yeah. Joy, first off, thank you for watching. I know your schedule is busy, so you actually watch my stories, on my spiel, but it is hot. You know, we're doing ViewerCon in Newark on Saturday, July 18th. This Saturday coming up, doors open at 10 a.m. Get your tickets right now at viewercon.co. And we're doing it because I really believe Newark is this new opportunity zone for entertainment. It's one of those cities that for a long time, let's be honest, hasn't been the most desirable place people think about in the tri-state area, but it is kind of hemorrhaging with so much amazing talent, just brimming over. And the reality is, Mayor Rajay Baraka, he brought this Lionsgate deal to Newark. It's going to bring hundreds of jobs. Lionsgate's actively building a huge hub and studio in Newark. And then a few miles away, Netflix has spending over $1 billion on a campus in Fort Monmouth, New Jersey. And then a few blocks away from that, or a few miles away in Bayonne, New Jersey, Paramount is building a campus. So there are hundreds if not thousands of jobs coming to the greater Jersey area. And I really believe in the city of Newark. I believe that there's so much talent there. There's so many creatives there. And our convention is an opportunity to connect with other executives, other creatives, build a cross. We're in Newark because of Audible. Audible's a sponsor for ViewerCon, but Audible's also just 3 blocks away. The headquarters for Audible, the national headquarters for Audible, is 3 blocks away from where we're having ViewerCon. And they were the first ones to be in Newark about 10 plus years ago. So there's a lot happening there. At ViewerCon, Joy, you'll be there interviewing the Mayor Raji Baraka. We're going to have Tay Diggs there in conversation. If y'all haven't watched this movie on Tubi called Stepfather that he's in, you have to watch it. He plays a complete and utter psycho, but also the best man. We'll talk about all the things. And he's the co-founder of a vertical drama company, Joy, called Micro House Films. So we'll talk about him now, also being an entrepreneur in these tech streets. Bevy Smith, Karamo Brown. We have Xavier Smalls from Beauty and Black. I mean, the list goes on. And we just locked in Dominique Thorne, who's in the show Ironheart on Disney Plus. It's the function. It's the cookout for content.
That's what it was. The cookout for content. I was calling it like Comic-Con for content or Comic-Con for movies and TV, but it's the cookout for content. That was the one. That's the one. I like that. I like it. We can go with that.
I'm still trying to live up to you and Jason and y'all's live show in New York City. So this is just hopefully a continuation of the brilliant.
Stop it.
No, for real. No, I'm still trying to live up to that. And I just want to see Joy on a live stage again. I'm going to interview Joy, you guys, at first before she interviews Mayor Raji Baraka. And I promise you, I am going to find a way to get Joy to tell me something we ain't heard before, because I think your story is incredible, Joy. And you embody the folks that are coming to ViewerCon. They are all self-made trailblazers who there wasn't no trail for Bevy Smith or Karamo and so many others. And that's what ViewerCon is really about. So I can't wait to talk to you.
It's going to be fun. Well, I should interview you. I'm not going to say why, but I mean, Chris is like a mogul, baby. Listen, Chris, I'm going to have to get my assistant to call his assistant to get him to hang out with me pretty soon. Okay, you dig. Okay, well, let's just keep it real.
Let's just hope.
Look, okay, well, we'll have our assistants coordinate and then we'll go see Melania.
Let me get the assistant first, but yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, absolutely. So I want to talk a little bit entertainment because, of course, we have you here. We got to talk about it. There is so much controversy about I guess it's controversy about the Jay-Z concert. Now, we know it was delayed due to like some security issues, but it started super late. But people apparently stayed, were happy, enjoyed it. It was epic. Nas showed up, like all the stars. But then he did this rant. Let's play a little of this rant. Jason, this is E2.
Medicine, $500 million back in the community. That's just good math for him. I don't listen to Twitter activists. They type and I laugh at them. There's really no comparison. Gotta check my stats again. I'm bringing folks home to their family. Laws get passed because him. You can like it or not. We don't do no ass kissing. Ex-drug dealer. You might not like the packaging, but my is the president. My gift is rapping. Oh shit! Woo! Let's get on some Brooklyn shit.
So Colin Kaepernick caught a little stray there. He basically kind of rebuked people for talking crap about Target because, you know, his album is in Target among other places, but said y'all shopping at Amazon and Meta. I mean, how is that being received sort of in the entertainment world?
I mean, listen, there's a group of folks that are ride or dies for Jay-Z, but I really do think he's still kind of fighting to connect with a much younger audience. And the much younger audience, they're riding for folks like Colin Kaepernick, who have been unapologetic, unfiltered, and really just like brave. I think that what Jay-Z said, there is some truth in there. The one thing that he said that really stood out to me, I wrote it down. I'm the one that they can't control. He was saying Colin had to sign a non-disparagement agreement. I'm the one that they can't control. And I think that there's power in people like Jay-Z. Say what you want to say about his NFL deal for $30 million, $25 million the first 5 years, then they re-upped it. But it's important to have people like Jay-Z, who he's right, they can't control, at the head of these boardroom tables or somewhere in these boardrooms of these powerful companies. I don't know why he did this deal with Target. Well, I do know, I don't know where you can buy an album these days in general, a physical copy, aside from Target or Walmart. So maybe that's it. Like, where are you going to buy a CD or an album these days, you know?
Well, I mean, at a niche store, I mean, the thing, I love albums and I've become like very much into vinyl. And, you know, and the challenge with Target and Walmart is that they're like a superstore, but there are so many amazing small little record shops that are popping back up. They're like hot again. Like record shops are cool again.
Yeah. And you know what? Agreed. But I think that Jay-Z, there's a brilliance and sort of like some sort of thinking around the strategy of how I can get in this big corporate company that's rolling back D&I left and right, but they gonna have me, Jay-Z from Best Buy Brooklyn, in these corporate meetings, some way, somehow. And I wanna believe, Joy Reid, I wanna believe, ReidOut fam, that's really what this is, or Joy Reid Show fam, actually. That's really what this is about. There's a larger strategy there at play.
Yeah.
You know, Jay-Z, he is blackity black. He does support the black community, you know, and I think that he's trying to move with the strategy that a billionaire would, and hopefully open doors for the rest of us to follow.
That is the hope. Yeah, I'm an OG Jay-Z fan, so it's, you know, we try to always think the best. And on the other end of the spectrum, where we cannot think the best, this right-wing freak out over the Odyssey. First of all, I cannot wait to see the Odyssey. It is I thought we were going to go last weekend because we were sure it was open. We were ready to buy tickets in advance to go sit in that theater. I cannot wait. The trailer is so epic. But what's so interesting is Lupita's not in the trailer, which I think is a signal of how angry the right is that she's in the movie. What do you make of that? Because I didn't see any Greeks in the movie either. And it's supposed to be Greeks, and there's not a single Greek in the movie.
I mean, first off, I saw the movie already, Joy Reid, and it is utterly brilliant. She is all up in the movie. I can't really answer the question why Universal might have held off. Maybe it's they want to surprise people. She is utterly stunning. And if you know the story of that Homer wrote of the Odyssey, Helen of Troy is the face that launches 1,000 ships. And she is that girl. Like, where's the lie?
Where's the lie? Where is the lie?
She's the face that launches 1,000 ships. And this is also mythical. Homer wrote this 3,000 years ago. It's not, these are gods. There's no sort of like right or wrong about this. So I think that the right is just, again, trying to find a reason to be messy. And the reality also is Christopher Nolan, you got to remember when he got this film, Joy, it was on the heels of winning Best Picture again for the movie Oppenheimer, which was a very white film. There was not a black lead anything in that movie. I think that Chris got the notes from the community, from folks that realized that film lacked diversity. It did not do as good as it could have with black and brown audiences. And I think he realized, I want to make movies that everybody sees. I want folks to see this movie that Universal gave me $250 million to do. And how do you get black and brown folks to go see something? You put us in it. You put Lupita in it. You put Zendaya in it, you know, as Athena. Where's the lie with that also? Zendaya is stunning. She should be Athena. You know, I think Christopher Nolan, who really had the rights around who's in this film and who's not in this film, is bold. He's brave. Props to him, you know. And I think he knows this is also the ingredients to get you some more Oscar nominations, because Lupita will get one. I think that Matt Damon will get one after seeing it, Matt Damon, and maybe even Zendaya.
Yeah, and I'm Googling it real quick because there's a hip hop artist that's in it too that people were also mad about.
ASAP.
Yeah. In it too.
Also him, he's brilliant. He was in that movie Spike Lee put out last year. I'm blanking on the name of it. But he's also, that's Riri's man. You know, he's also incredible. And again, Christopher Nolan, I think he's always been on the cutting edge of making movies, you guys. And the reality is, to get people to come and put butts in seats right now in theaters, as the whole movie ecosystem is changing, you have to be strategic about who you're casting. You have to be thoughtful around what audiences want. And guess what, y'all? Audiences want diversity. Young people who are moviegoers, they want to see multiracial, multi-ethnic casting. They don't want Oppenheimer. I'm sorry. I had to walk out of Oppenheimer. I've never said that before. It was so whitewashed. I was halfway through it and I was like, I can't do this. I'm going to wait till it comes to Peacock or wherever, because it just felt tone deaf to me. And I think that so many young audiences, they don't want to see that anymore. And again, this is mythical, y'all. They mythical figures, okay?
It's like saying Santa is white, Megan Kelly. It's like, unless you... It's not a documentary, y'all.
real talk. And I think just as someone that saw it, y'all, go see it. It is brilliant. And Lupita Nyong'o is just stunning. Like the moment she's on screen, I wanted to cry.
Stunning. Like stunning. She's so beautiful that it's like actually shocking. Like when she was in Us, the way she transformed into that character that's so scary. when she's that gorgeous, it actually made me even more scared. I was so scared.
Lomena is the softest, sweetest, quiet. I've interviewed her so many times. I interviewed her back at the Griot, Joy, back in our days at the Griot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of the first folks that interviewed her for 12 Years a Slave.
Yep.
She was last on the call sheet. No one saw her getting an Oscar nomination, and she has stayed that same girl. When I see her, there's hugs, there's kisses. She's utterly talented. She's utterly talented. You know, she went to Yale. She's that girl. The receipts are there. The receipts are there.
My favorite fun point about her is that she's Mexican and she speaks fluent Spanish.
Sí, habla español.
Yeah. Totally. So to answer this question, because it definitely feels like there was a moment when movies, like theatrical movies, were kind of DOA and they're kind of back. Am I wrong about that, or am I just perceiving it because there's more movies I want to see?
I think that you're right about it, but I think that what's beautiful about this is Hollywood's listening to creators. Like there's a couple movies that came out, like Obsession, this horror film that broke records. Ask your kids about it. They probably talked about it already. Another one called Back Rooms or Back Doors. Mm-hmm. Like I think that Hollywood is once again embracing not just the old trope of, you know, the directors they keep giving those $100 million budgets to. They now letting young people and people that aren't traditional filmmakers make movies, you know? And I also think, Joy, to your point, that people are looking for third spaces. They're looking for experiences. They want to connect with other people. They're tired of being on their phones quite as much as they were 2 years ago. And where else? I mean, the picture show is a great place to connect.
Yes.
You know?
And the smart movie theaters are giving you the full experience, where they'll deliver food to your seat, where they have bucket seats where you can lay back. Like they're making it into an experience again. And I love it. I love seeing movies in the theater. All right, let's go back and talk about ViewerCon. So we're going to give away some tickets. Jason, if you could throw up the QR code. Like, I think what we should do, friends, is you tell me how generous we want to be here, because I feel like we should do 10 tickets for the YouTube people. Can we do 10? For each of the three? Let's do 10 for the YouTube team, 10 for the Twitchies, and 10 for the Substackies. Okay, so what you have to do is you need to hit that little QR code. Now look, he gonna make me pay for these tickets, y'all, because I'm all giving away Chris tickets, and there's not a lot of tickets, so we're trying to give away some and let you guys have a chance to come. But we will, if you hit the little QR code, and you have to just fill out the little form. We want you to give us your email, and then you got to tell us where you're listening from, because we want to make sure we spread it out. We don't want everybody to we love our YouTubies, we love our Substack. We want to make sure everybody gets a little bit. All right, so you guys go ahead, just send us your email, and we need your email because we have to get you on the Ticketmaster, right? Like we have to make sure that we register that your tickets are yours so that you guys can come. Yes. We want to see you guys at ViewerCon. It's at NJPAC. What is NJPAC, by the way?
So NJPAC is New Jersey Performing Arts Center. It is stunning, y'all. We really invested in a space that is beautiful. And I wanted people to walk in and walk out and say, wait, this is Newark. This is Newark, New Jersey. You know, it's stunning. It's stunning. And you guys, the lineup is incredible. We're going to kick off the day with Joy. So make sure you are there when doors open at 10. And we're going to celebrate you, Joy. I'm just so proud of you. I want to say that. I want to keep saying it. But it's not easy leaving the corporate structure as you have and building this audience that you have right now for the Joy Reid Show. You and Jason and your entire team, we're celebrating that. This is the 1 year anniversary 2.0. We're going to keep going because I'm just so proud of you. And I think all of our talent, Patina Miller, Tay Diggs, they're all excited to also see you. And we're just going to be connecting, you guys. So come through. There's VIP tickets available. There's general admission tickets available. Again, go to viewercon.co or just Google ViewerCon. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
They're
everywhere. All right. We're going to make sure we see your face in the place. If you guys on the East Coast, even if you're near New Jersey, if you're in New York, if you're in the tri-state area, just come on, drive up, have a good time. We're going to chill. It's going to be great weather. We're going to have a great time. I'm going to get to see NJPAC for the first time. It's going to be fabulous. And we're going to get to hang out with Chris. Thank you, Chris.
Yes, thank you, Joy. I'll see you Saturday.
See you Saturday. Okay, guys, this is going to be fun. And y'all, let me know if there are questions you specifically want me to ask the mayor. There's a lot to ask. There's so much going on in Newark, but we're going to focus on what he's doing to make Newark into like the new Hollywood. By the way, there is a rumor that Warner Brothers is now being lured to Tennessee because so many states are suing over that merger that's going to give the Ellisons control of CNN. So there's, put a pin in that story. That story is going to be absolutely wild. So we're going to follow that as well. Okay, we have come to the point in the show. Oh, yes, that's my little card. That's me. That's me in a cute picture of myself. So I'll be, and there you go. That's some of the lineup and the people. There's Bevy, In Bed with Bevy. And so that's some of the stars that are going to be there. It's going to be a hoot. We're going to have a great time. Tay Diggs is a great guy. He's a lot of fun. So we're going to have a good time. And you guys, hopefully you'll come out, grab your tickets today. And so just go to viewercon.co to get your tickets, or use that little QR code to register to get free tickets. We're going to give a limited number of free tickets so that you guys can come on out if you're on a budget. That's the best way to get them if you're on a budget, because we recognize that some folks is on a budget. All right, so let's get to our moment of joy. Now, I had 2 moments of joy. I couldn't decide between the 2 of them. I'm blaming Jackie Reid for the first one because she's the one who sent it to me. I took the sound off of it, so you're just going to have to imagine it. You can put it up, and I'm just going to go ahead and do the sound that would have been on it. And this honorable mention. Will the church please, let the church say amen. Will everybody please bring their minds into alignment as we listen to a hymn from the choir. Let's let everybody listen to a hymn from the choir. Why are we like this? Somebody literally did a Mother Lindsey Graham, very Black church service. And they decided that they wanted to show him in all of his glory. Well, everybody, please bring your minds and hearts aligned. If you have a child who is making noise, please proceed to the overflow because Mother Lindsey is being laid to rest on today. Sweet Hour of Prayer will now be sung by the choir. Sweet Hour of Prayer, sweet hour of prayer, me from
Get that plate around, everybody. Let's grab some. Pass that offering plate around now. Come on now, get that plate around. Come on, don't be cheap. Don't be cheap now.
Okay, so we want to thank the folks who made this. It is so cute. And the person who made that one is It's So Good We Had to Name It. I think it's called It's So Good We Named It. It's So Good We Named It. You can hear it with their full sound on Instagram. It's So Good We Named It on Instagram. Thank you for making us laugh. That was a great laugh. Faith, service, and fabulousness is being celebrated by Mother Lindsey Graham, been laid to rest. Sweet Hour of Prayer. If we're going to pass the plate around, please feel free to give things that fold, not that jingle. Okay, so that was the honorable mention. But the winner is one of my absolute favorite follows. It was a chore finding one without a lot of cussing in it, y'all, because I'm telling you, they cuss, but these videos are so hilarious. If you are not following Dimply Studios, they do these animated clips that they then put the sound over that is so funny. It will make your stomach, your sides, your ribs ache. So we found one without a lot of cussing in at Dimply Studios. Make more that we can actually play on this show. All right, this is our actual moment of joy.
All right. Everybody come around the table. The food ready. One of y'all say the prayer. Let Grandma Angie say the prayer. Let Grandma Angie. Hell no. Watch your damn mouth. I can say the prayer by your hands. Lord, we come to you today. We ask you to let this food nourish our body. No illness, no sickness, no trials, no tribulations. And I ask you to please bless my grandbabies. Let all of them get into college and have a good career. Lord, we thank you for everything that you've given us. Even my third dead husband who is now gone to glory with you. My God, you said in your word, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. And Lord, don't let none of us get caught behind in the rapture. Let's all fly high. And Lord, please touch the back of my hip because it's been bothering me for a couple of days. Also the side of my neck. I tried to put some icy hot and Bengay on it, but it ain't working. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, y'all. Oh, shit.
And y'all know y'all have a praying auntie like that. They pray over the food so long, the food is cold, everybody left, or they fall asleep, or they also died. So thank you, Dimply Studios. That's why they starved to death. They starved to death at the table waiting for praying auntie to go ahead and finish the prayer. So if y'all have a praying auntie and that resonates with you, show that to praying auntie next time y'all have a party and invite her over. And so you don't have to pray all night. You could actually stop the prayer in time for us to eat the food while it's still hot, auntie. Auntie Grace. Oh, Auntie Grace, why do you got to do that? Dimply Studios, one of my absolute favorite follows. Please follow them as well. Jason, put the QR code up one more time. If you want to get free tickets to ViewerCon, please go ahead, hit that QR code. Just use your phone. Go ahead, register, put your email in. Let us know where you are listening from. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow night. We're going to try, y'all. We're going to start at 8:30. We're going to chat. Waj is locked in. We're trying to get Jim Acosta, but he has to ask the Acosta boss. We're going to make it work. And then as we listen to this madness, we are going to stop.
Stop.
The chat says stop. All three chats. And this,
they got me in line.
The chats were in line, and I apologize. I didn't have Facebook up, so y'all, please, I apologize for the Facebook folks.
The same thing.
Yeah, and Facebook folks, please hit the QR code too. Jump in. We'll make sure that y'all get tickets as well. We'll hold a couple aside for our Facebook friends as well. So we're not holding them for the LinkedIn because LinkedIn people got money. LinkedIn, you LinkedIn people can afford to pay. So you LinkedIn people ain't getting nothing. We love you. You have jobs. you have businesses and you own corporations, you're CEOs and shit. So you're not kidding. But we love you. We love you just the same. Okay. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. Same bad time, same bad channel. Bring your favorite cocktail. We're going to be playing bingo. Good night and see you tomorrow. Like, subscribe, share, and peace.
Getting back to the basics, grassroots level. Let me dig a little deeper with the shovel. Plenty can't tell the forest from the trees, and I'm hard to detect, like a black hole in the dark. Injustice anywhere, it's a threat to justice everywhere. Let me make this clear, I got a bone to pick, and I'll never fear the threat of poverty. They don't want to talk about it, they rather party, so I'm a real talk about it, for sure.